I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Wednesday. This is Breaking the Narrative, and I'm going to be joined by none other than Ethan Van Sciver, the creator of Comicsgate. He is definitely one of the legends in the comic book industry, and I'm really excited to be talking to him this evening. But he is running a little bit late because he is also a father, and he's picking up his daughter. So he's going to be running a little bit late, but I figured I'd start and wait for him with you guys because you guys in the chat waiting for me. So I didn't want to keep you waiting. So I wanted to start. There's a lot going on tonight. I wasn't even aware of this, but apparently Donald Trump was in the CNN town hall and I watched some of that. That was insane. I gotta say, I kind of missed the guy. I missed talking or just like hearing him talk as he is hilarious. He's like the uncle, the old uncle that you want to, have a drink with or like hang out with, versus Biden is like the creepy uncle that you like wish was never at the family gatherings. And like, you're always like, wait, so is Uncle Biden going to be there? Cause I'm not showing up. Versus like, if you're like, is Uncle Trump going to be there? Cause yeah, hell yeah, I'm going to be there. Because, you don't want the creepy uncle that sniffs you around, but you want the party uncle around. So it's just one of those things. And Trump is definitely one of a kind, just like EBS, one of a kind. And I'm very excited to be hanging out with him tonight. Right off the bat, Jason Smoot, thank you so much for the $10 saying, hail Nina, hail Comicsgate. Well, hello to you. And thank you for being here tonight. EBS should be joining me shortly. But yeah, thank you so much for that. Very welcome, Jason Smoot. That's very cool. That Spider-Man shirt fits very nicely. Thank you. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. Well, American superhero, I should say. So it's definitely. I wanted to wear that because with great power does come great responsibility. It's definitely a good lesson that we should all be learning. And then of course Shane G saying Uncle Biden's sniffing shirt again. Oh my God, no, we need to stop with that. Well, actually, no, we don't, because that is true. But yeah, there's a lot going on. And apparently Donald Trump was also, he's been in the courts a lot recently. And that's also a thing that happened today. So he was he was quote unquote found guilty. Well, he wasn't found guilty. He was found liable, which is ridiculous. We all know that, but hey, that's the world. That's the way the world works these days. And we're here for. I'm just here for it because it's just entertaining. It just you feel like the clown world is never going to stop at this point. You're just like, what is going to make it stop? Because it's really entertaining to me that Robert F. Kennedy is also running for president now. I never thought I would see the day when another Kennedy is like, yeah, I'm going to run for president. So that's also a thing that's happening. And he's spilling the beans left, right, and center about the CIA and all that kind of stuff, which is also really funny. We got Russell Hall in the house for $2 saying sometimes the creepy and party uncle are the same. That's true. That's true. I mean, if I didn't know EVS, because I've gotten to know him through the streams for a while now, but if I didn't know him and his sense of humor, and let's say I had no idea who he was, and then I had heard like the "Daddy Can't Grape Us All" song, I think I would have been like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" but knowing him and his sense of humor, I think that's probably one of the funniest songs I've ever heard in my life. But I remember when I first heard it, I was like, I wasn't too familiar. So I was like, wait, what? Like, what is this song? It's all great. It's all good fun though. And we got 200-watt studios in the house. Like, bring on the obese guy. Well, he's busy eating pies. What do you want from me? Okay. Like I'm here to entertain you while the guest arrives from an all-you-can-eat pie contest. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, Jane Theory's in the house. Literature Devil's here. Hello, you guys. Who's the obese guy? That would be Ethan Van Sciver. I'm guessing. I think they're referring to. Unless they're thinking Cecil is going to be here, but Cecil isn't obese anymore. So I don't know. Maybe people are mixing up who the obese guy is. I have no idea. But speaking of insane people, this is some next level shit right here. Let's start the show. Let's start the show real spicy like. And we're gonna have to like change topics when EVS joins us. But my God, this was funny. 200-watt studios clarifying here for $2 obese comics artist pro secrets. Well, thank you so much for that. So here, speaking of weirdos, and this is gonna get my stream demonetized immediately, but I don't even care because it's hilarious. So here we got a freaking Michael Rappaport, however you say his name, having an absolute meltdown about the Trump guilty verdict, because he's saying Trump is found guilty, which I think is hilarious because the notes, the YouTube, or I mean the Twitter community notes corrected him, saying readers added context that they thought the people should know. A party is liable when they are held legally responsible for something, unlike in criminal cases where a defendant could be found guilty. A defendant in civil cases risk only liability. Trump found liable, which is not the same as guilty. And then they cite the sources. Trump will appeal, and then again cite the sources. So here we go. This is what this weirdo had to say. He is very annoying, but we have to watch it because it's funny. Let's go.
Forcibly abusing and sexually touching. Defamation. You defamed her. You defame everybody. You fat fucking no good cock-sucking miserable motherfucker.
Oh my God. I feel like everybody's thinking that about you, bro. Like projection much? Like, holy shit, shut the fuck up.
And first, we have to salute E. Jean Carroll. You fought. As pig dick Donald Trump would say, you fought like a dog to get what's right. Salute you, and I am sorry for everything you've been through. Now back to you, you fat fuck. You were finally found guilty, And there's so much more you've been guilty of. You
Wait. Who's hanging out on rooftops and screaming like at the top of their lungs? Like, and unless you're Spider-Man, I feel like why are you on a rooftop, bro? Like, what the hell is going on?
fat sloppy cocksucker, you. In New York. You were found guilty in New York, where you're from. Only this could happen to you, you fuck. Only this could happen to you. Because you're a no good, sexually assaulting, pussy grabbing motherfucker. And now, no disrespect, the pussy finally grabbed back. The pussy finally grabbed back and got you right by your shriveled up old balls. Woo!
The pussy finally grabbed back, guys. The pussy finally grabbed back. And speaking of pussies grabbing back, we have the one, the only Ethan Van Sciver in the house.
No, wait a second. What exactly did you mean by that, Nina Infinity?
It was a segue.
Yeah, I know.
It was there, and I had to do it.
Not
How are
just
you?
the main mode of transportation in Portland, Oregon. Always also a way to get from one segment to another cleanly and smoothly. And that's what I expect from the professionalism of Nina Infinity. Hi, Chad. Hello, everybody. I'm your Uncle A. Good to be here. Human Sunbeam, I think.
Yes.
Sorry I'm late. I'm really sorry.
No worries. I was just saying you're a dad. So, being a dad comes first and you had to pick up your daughter. So
Important to be a good father, Nina. I picked up my stepdaughter at volleyball practice in some Catholic church somewhere. And I drove 120 miles an hour on crowded New Jersey streets because I'm a good dad, and I wanted to be here on time. Good dad, good YouTuber. It's like, who knows?
And great comic book artist.
Thanks.
It's fantastic. That. I mean, look at this background, everybody. Look at this background. This is his life's work.
What a maniac I am. It's crazy.
It's absolutely wonderful. And I'm really thankful for you to join me tonight. So thank you for taking the time of being here.
My pleasure.
Ethan, I was heading the show into something completely different, but did you know that CNN was hosting Donald Trump?
I'm missing it. Everybody's telling me about it, and I'm so excited. I got to watch it later. I think Tim Pool, we shouldn't advertise where you can watch that. You should be watching this show. You guys are in the right place right now.
Yes, definitely. But I mean, I was watching it on Crowder too, because as you know, I'm a Canadian in Mexico, so I don't have access to CNN or, weirdo leftist media outlets. So I was watching it through Rumble with Crowder, and it was pretty amazing. And I was trying to find it so that maybe in the second hour of the show, we can kind of do it, we can EFAP it, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere because it's all, freaking cable. So I'm like, oh man, I can't find this. But
It's gotta be on YouTube.
There's clips. No, it's not on YouTube at all. Well, at least not yet. Maybe they'll upload it later, but at this point in time, there isn't any. But this is I bookmarked a couple of the clips, and this one was one of them, which was funny.
You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
You
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you held on to the documents?
I was negotiating and we were talking to Nara. That's why
I love it.
This
was a good town hall. There's so many, there's so much gold because I miss Trump because of this. I feel like I feel like we haven't really had so much entertainment since he left office. How much do you think they paid him to come on CNN? I mean, CNN must be desperate.
Well, I mean, CNN has been taken over by Zaslav, one of the greatest men, I think, in media right now, and he's changing things. So you've got Zaslav, and he's basically saying, Look, CNN is what I would call an advocacy network.
Mhm.
And they were no different than Fox News. They were no different than MSNBC. They were no different than any news outlet. They're not serving the people with journalism. They're advocacy networks, and I love that term. I'm really glad that he brought that up. I think I gotta do a little more research on Zaslav, because I really feel like he might be Mormon. I think I get a feeling from him, like I know him somehow. I connect with him. I think
You have
he
a
might
deep
be
connection.
LDS. Yeah, I think he might come from like Utah, which is basically like Mormon Wakanda. I sense that about him.
Mormon Wakanda. That's hilarious.
So like, I don't know. I like him a lot, but he said, look, he's a front runner. Like, first of all, he said, yeah, we're gonna bring Trump on CNN, and of course Trump is gonna go where he's invited. He's going to talk, and people responded to him kind of like, you're bringing Donald Trump onto CNN? What? It's like, that's
crazy.
how utterly backwards and stupid everybody is right now. The left has infiltrated and basically poisoned. They've turned people's brains into pudding. He is a front runner. He's a former president of the United States. He's going to be president of the United States again, in all likelihood, next year, or the year after that, I guess. Yes, of course of course we want him to come on CNN. And the fact that that's controversial at all is bizarre. But that's the world we live in.
It's absolutely bizarre. And I'm really glad you brought up Zaslav, because I have a lot of questions about him, which we'll get into. But interestingly, one of the people who's having a melty, of course, is AOC. None other than AOC. She's having an absolute melty over the fact that Donald Trump went on CNN. This is what she had to say.
I know you said earlier that you will not comment on
Look at her eyes.
Forming of such atrocious misinformation, but I would. I think it was a profoundly irresponsible decision. I don't think that I would be doing my job if I did not say that. And what we saw tonight,
your job is bartender.
Extremely irresponsible decisions that put a sexual abuse victim at risk, that put that person at risk in front of a national audience, and I could not have disagreed with it more. It was shameful.
Her job is acting, because that's how she got this job.
She is so phony. The nicest thing you could say about AOC is she's a big phony baloney. What a ridiculous, again, this is advocacy. This is somebody who's pretending, even if all of that stuff is true, he still is commanding more than 60% of the Republican vote right now. In terms of who's going to be, he is the front runner for president. Hearing him out irresponsible is ridiculous. Now, what if she's right and he's a monster and he's putting people at risk and all of this stuff? It's even more important that you put him in front of the American people.
Because, if you want to kind of portray CNN as, a news network, which we all know it's really not. It's a propaganda machine at this point in time anyway. But if you want to portray yourself as a news network, then having Donald Trump on is kind of your job as a news network, to show this, like what you're saying, Ethan, that he is the commanding leader of the Republicans right now. He is the guy. It's him and DeSantis. Who else other than these two men are the front of the Republican Party, which I thought was also funny, because he called Ron DeSantis the sanctimonious again.
That's what he does. He's got to get his opponents out of the way. And then at first his opponents are fellow Republicans, unfortunately, and hopefully they understand that and get in line. But yeah, like the idea that, he's such a terrible person, and therefore we must never let him talk. We must hide him. We must shun him. What exactly are you so afraid of, AOC? If all this stuff is true, then more people should know about it. And if it isn't true, then people should know that too.
Absolutely. And I think she and people like her, especially people on the left, are afraid of freedom, because true freedom is actually a scary concept, because when you have true freedom, then you can speak your mind. And once you start speaking your mind, you may be speaking about things people don't necessarily want to hear. And people like AOC, people like, telling her that she's a fucking retard, for example. Oops. Sorry, YouTube. That was, never mind.
I was going to say retard. And when I'm on Nina's channel, I'm going to be respectful. Yeah, I mean, listen, if I were on like Cecil's channel, I'd let all those slurs fly. But I'm with you. I'm going to be respectful of your channel. And
You're
then look what you
welcome.
do.
You're welcome to let the slurs fly around here. Just you know, as long as it's not the ones that really get you kicked off. You're fine.
I don't speak in slurs. Love is spoken here. I speak in words of love.
Aw.
I do. That's one thing that people know about me. But yeah, I think Trump should be featured everywhere. I'm very excited about this. And again, you know, freedom. You'll note that these people, they strike at the heart of personal freedom. What do they want to do? They want to revoke the First Amendment, and then what? The Second Amendment, our ability to speak out and say what we want to say, and then our ability to defend ourselves. And the two things that are mostly at risk coming from the left right now. And I don't understand that. I don't understand people who support that, who promote that, who advocate for those things. I think those people, like, with love, I'd like to throw them into a wood chipper head first.
There's some people that I would like to do that to as well. But I mean, you're here. This is a channel of love as well. This is why I do Infinite Hope on Fridays, because I need to balance out this crazy world by, you know, reminding people that not everybody is crazy. And there's still good people in the world, like you, Ethan. Like you're a good person. I would like to let everyone know that. Now, with love, let's talk about you and the idea, a little bit about, just in case people, I know there's a lot of people that do know you in the chat. A lot of people are here for you.
This is straight vodka, by the way.
Oh, nice. This is going to be a fun night tonight. But there are people out there that don't know you. They don't know who you are. They have no idea what's going on with you. So can you take a moment to kind of give a little bit background about yourself, who you are, how you got into comics as, you know, as a comics creator for DC originally, and what happened to make you want to come and create this thing called Comicsgate?
Oh, I didn't create Comicsgate. You know what? I think the left created Comicsgate, honestly. But my name is Ethan Daniel Van Sciver. I'm 48 years old. I was born in Provo, Utah, back in 1974. I did see Star Wars: A New Hope in the movie theaters. I also saw Superman in the movie. Actually, I saw that in a drive-in theater, sitting on the top of my mom's car eating Cracker Jacks.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's a good memory. You know, those two movies basically impacted my life in such a way that I became obsessed with superheroes. My mom made me a Superman cape. She liked to. She was on the sewing machine all the time. You know, she made me a Superman cape that I would ride on my big wheel. You know, when I was 35 years old. And on the, like, you'd reverse it. It was Superman on one side and Batman on the other side.
Do you have pictures of this?
My mom does. Yeah, I think my dad said my dad said something scary. Everybody who watches my show knows my dad, Holiday. He's a frequent guest. He will be here on the 27th of May. And he did say, I'm scanning. My dad has a box of pictures of, I don't have any pictures of me. The fewer the better, you know. There's like one picture of me on Google.
We're gonna need this a picture of this cape.
Yeah, if I can find it, I will. I do remember it does exist. And anyway, he said he's scanning them all. He's bringing them, so I will have lots of pictures of me to go through. I'm sure on a live stream. And anyway, yeah, we moved to New Jersey, which is where my dad grew up when I was 5 years old. I've been a New Jersey native, I would say, just because. Everything that all of New Jersey kind of became a part of who I am. That's where I remember growing up. I love superheroes. I love Superman. I love Star Wars. Became a comic book artist when I was 19 years old with a character called Cyberfrog that I created, and eventually ended up over at DC Comics for a while. And I became politically active. I was awakened to politics after 9/11.
Okay.
I said, yeah, when 9/11 happened, I think I was vaguely Republican, but I didn't really have, I loved America, you know, and all this stuff, but I didn't really, wasn't motivated or anything. I didn't have a fire lit under me until 9/11 happened. And then really, I was set in my ways. So I kind of realized who I was and tried to join the army, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what they said to me? Like, I went to a recruiter because I was like, I was so mad. I was like, oh my God, I want to kill these terrorists. You know, I was really patriotic. I was filled with patriotic fervor. I want to kill these terrorists.
In Minecraft.
No, in real life, not Minecraft. You're allowed to. I think you're allowed if you're talking about 2001, 2002.
Yeah,
you're allowed
okay.
to.
You're
I think-
allowed. Yeah.
So, anyway, I went to
Which
the
is
army.
understandable. You're American, and you felt very threatened, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I did. I was like, oh no, what's next?
Mhm.
So I went to the army recruiter, and they sat me down, and I looked okay, and they said, do you have you take any medications for anything? And I said, just my inhaler for asthma. And the guy laughed at me.
Oh,
He said,
You're
you're
like-
an asthmatic.
you're
said,
like
"Yeah."
Captain America. You wanted to serve your country, but you were the little weakling a little bit.
Weakling?
Just a little.
They laughed at me, and they said, you know what? We don't take asthmatics around here, son. And they
Oh.
gave me a white Go Army t-shirt and threw me out the door. Which
If they were like, "Hey, we're gonna give you a serum that might turn you into super soldier," would you have taken it?
Of course. Of course. I mean, somebody offered me meth in the parking lot, but I was smart enough to say no. That's not. So that's not gonna help me. So I wore my Go Army t-shirt for like a year, and all this stuff. I decided, I would probably not get to serve my country, but I have an intense admiration for those who have. I think those are the greatest people on earth.
Aw.
Thrown out like C-3PO at the bar. we don't serve your kind here, asthma boy. Anyway, yeah. Was viciously canceled in 2017, 2018. That's, I think, where most people on YouTube started to get to know me, because I worked at DC Comics for 20 years. And during that time, and Marvel, for about a year and a half, I created a bunch of X-Men characters that some people may know. But I'm mostly known for working at DC Comics. I worked on The Flash, Green Lantern, and Batman mostly. And really did some great work over there. Was having a good time. But it turns out that my peers were always gritting their teeth around me. They didn't like that I was a Republican and would talk about it. They would share articles. They would say things like, Trump's medical plan doesn't cover rape. And I would say, what are you talking about? Like, rape isn't a pre-existing condition. Like, what are you people talking about? And then we would have this, then they'd get mad at me. They'd go and they'd tell Ethan's like a supporter of Trump and rape. And it's just bizarre. And it really drove me nuts. I really thought my peers in comics were retarded, and I wanted to answer them with facts and logic, as best as I could. They didn't like it. They thought it was harassment when I would answer their bullshit.
Both men and women?
Yeah, but mostly men. I didn't really talk to the women that much because, ew, but I mean, with the guys, I'm like, you guys should know better. You're men, you obviously, under no circumstances should you be denied the right to vote, unlike women. So
Sure.
I want to talk to you and get your minds right. This doesn't make sense. Saying something like buying into these stupid articles that will come out and then representing them like Trump says rape is a pre-existing condition or something, and therefore will not cover it. That doesn't make any sense. Rape is a crime, and if you're injured from it, I would try to explain this to them. They'd get angry with me. So
I can't believe you would have to explain something like that. That is that is nuts.
It was, I'll tell you who it was too. It was that Jonathan Glapian guy over there inking Capullo on Batman, sitting there. Rape is a pre-existing condition. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why do you guys get yourselves all mad about this? You invent reasons to hurt your own feelings, and then you get angry. That is entirely what the left does. And I got sick of it, and I would speak up, and I'd say, no, grow up, seriously grow up. This is our country. Stop lying. Stop spreading lies and hatred all the time. Anyway, when Trump won, they turned against me like you wouldn't believe, because I went, make America great again, MAGA, let's go, let's get started. And step one, was going to be building that wall. They got very angry with me, and they began to follow me around and cause trouble. They'd go back in time. They'd collect data to prove my Nazi inclinations, which existed only in their heads, I assure you.
Wow.
And worked really hard. They started sending me messages, Nina. Can you imagine this? You vote, you're proud of your vote. And they send you messages like this. I get a message from somebody who was an artist, and he say, I don't know how. Like, the fact that you voted for Trump really disgusts me. Don't you understand that your vote is going to lead to the deaths of possibly dozens of your queer colleagues in comics? Do you even care? And Nina, I wrote back to this one guy, and I was so like, I got a bunch of those. I wrote back to this one guy. I was like, I guess I don't care. I said, no, I don't care about that. That's ridiculous. And I said, accusing me, like I voted based on other things other than my queer colleagues who listen, stay over there. But, it's like the idea that being a Republican or conservatism is going to lead to the death of gay people is another insult. That's a direct insult that you're lobbing my way. It's ridiculous. It's going to lead to lower taxes. And if lower taxes kills them, how would they kill them? Seems like it would help them.
Employment, you would think that, good employment and things like that would make their lives better. But under this, under the Trump administration, employment, those things were thriving. The U.S. economy was thriving. And I don't think that they like stuff like that because they like people being dependent on the system. And they like people being victims of the system so that they can, feed off of the system.
That's just true. Yeah.
It's one of those things. And I think it's fascinating that you went through something like this. But now, while you were working there, did you also notice that they were asking you to start portraying characters a certain way, or we want more political messaging in here? Or because I guess my question comes from the fact that comic books have always kind of had a political aura around them, since the birth of comic books. I feel like a lot of them had, the anti-Nazism or Nazism or different. There was a lot of different things during World War II and so on. It has a very colorful history. So do you think that when they started asking you to make the comic books more politicized, was that kind of in line with what you saw in the history of comic books, or was it different for the first time for you? Or how did you think about that?
Well, to me, like, it was a slow creeping kind of thing that happened, and I participated in it because those were the people that I was around, and it seemed to be a priority to the company to do things like this. One of the first books that I drew was Flash Iron Heights, and I remember talking to Jeff Johns and Jeff being like, Wally's friend, in the book, Wally West is going to be friends with the Pied Piper, who was a villain. He's from the Rogues Gallery, but they're friends now. He's reformed. And by the way, Pied Piper is gay. And I went, I'm going to give him a sissy haircut then. And Jeff went, yeah, do it. Like, whatever you want to do. But just so you know, like, the character is gay. So I did. I kind of made the Pied Piper mince around a little bit. And I came up with ideas for him. I started to think, oh, he's gay. That's pretty cool. Like, it makes him different, and all this stuff, because there weren't too many gay characters at DC. So I started
back then. Now they're all gay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like, I'm gonna give him like his flute, like he's gonna lead rats around behind him, like an army of rats. And I really feel like I made that character cool, who, by the way, was incidentally gay. We never showed him like having sex with boys or kissing boys.
Why
I just
not?
made him
I'm just
because it's DC Comics. It's like you knew he was gay. I think he might have mentioned, Wally, I like boys or something like that once or twice. But like, we presented him as gay, but we didn't. That wasn't the point. The point was he was a super villain who had changed his mind and was sort of helping assist Wally West in this contagion that broke out in the prison. And by the way, this is a guy who uses music to uses sound to move objects and attract animals or whatever it is that he does. So that was like where it all started for me. I was like making a point of his identity. That's great, but let's make him a cool character too. Okay. And I started to help. And then they said to me, and I remember hearing all this stuff. It was really weird how it happened, like, because it did slowly creep in. And then once the feminists came in, it was the floodgates were open. But they said, hey, Ethan, because I was working on Green Lantern, they said, Alan Scott is going to be, I think, bisexual. And I was like, Alan Scott, like the original Green Lantern from the 1940s, is gay. And I said, he's bisexual. And by the way, it's not. And they said, don't worry. It's not. They said, don't worry. It's not this Alan Scott Green Lantern. It's Earth 2, the alternate.
Oh, of course.
It's the alternate.
Of course.
And I went, what? Like, why wouldn't? So it doesn't matter. You're just. And at the time, I was like, you're grabbing a headline here. You want to say Green Lantern is gay, and then parenthetically, it's the original Green Lantern that nobody likes from another dimension. So it's like you can't get much more. And by the way, he's not gay; he's bisexual. Can't get much more cowardly than that. But that was them kind of dipping their toe in,
right?
And I started to notice that. I started to notice more efforts to cancel people for their politics. Famously, I think the most hurtful one was Orson Scott Card, who is a legendary author. Do you know who he is?
No, I'm not familiar.
Have you heard of Ender's Game?
Yes.
Okay, so he's the creator, the author of Ender's Game.
Okay.
And he's a conservative, and he's from Mormon Wakanda. Okay, he's one of me.
Sure.
And so he's out there, a big famous sci-fi novelist, somebody who is making millions and millions of dollars, who's important, who's of note. And by the way, he's a conservative. And they asked him his opinion on gay marriage. And guess what? He's all yes. So guess what he said? He said, marriage is between a man and a woman.
Oh, shocker.
Oh my God. So DC Comics was like, we'd like to hire you to do a Superman story. Is that possible? Or something like that. Maybe he came to DC and said, I have a 10-page Superman story that I'd like to. Holy cow, we got Orson Scott Card. He's going to write Superman. My peers, cool. It would be cool. It should be cool. No, because he is a homophobic, anti-gay. You can look up these articles. Look up Orson Scott Card on DC if you want to. And you'll see like a plethora of cancel culture, early, primitive, prehistoric cancel culture attempts that were entirely aimed to mobilize the comic book industry as a community to not allow this thing to get published.
Wow.
Look at that. Was it 2010? Something like
it is
13 or
no? 2013.
Wow. Okay, so that's later than I thought. This was right at the precipice of where we are now. This is the start of SJW, social justice warriors, realizing their power in comics, that they can mobilize, they can join forces, and they can stop something creative from happening.
That's incredible. I'd never even heard about this fact, like the Orson Scott Card to be canceled like this and be labeled as anti-gay, because usually even the idea to me of labeling someone as, anti-gay just because they believe that marriage should be between a man and a woman is ridiculous. Because anti-gay means you're anti-gay. You know what I mean? Not anti-gay marriage. Like that's not the same thing at all. A lot of straight people are anti-marriage. That doesn't mean that they're, homophobic.
A lot of gay people are anti-gay marriage as well. It's weird. Yeah. I don't understand why, but they are. I've encountered them, and I think that once again, Christians being Christians and standing up for their beliefs, and Mormons are Christian, and Mormons have beliefs that are similar to, if not exactly the same as, most Christians. Mm-hmm. So if you ask someone a question that you know the answer to, that it's almost like you just want to hear them say it so that you can be upset. You already know the answer. The guy is Mormon. Mm-hmm. You ask a Mormon what he thinks about gay marriage, and he's going to say, marriage is a sacred covenant between a man and a woman.
That's right.
And God is involved, and it's for the purpose of creating bodies for the souls of little children to come down. That's what marriage is for. And so when you say gay marriage, that makes zero sense to a Mormon. That is
right. It's ridiculous. Like asking an Ayatollah, like, hey, what do you think of gay marriage? An Islamic Ayatollah is going to be like, well, I think everyone's going to hell. And they should all probably die. Like it's not. It's definitely something that they don't approve of either. And I completely understand what you're saying. And it's funny to see the timeline here, like the 2013, because that's kind of how I thought about like 2012. I thought was kind of like the start of just bad, woke, weird. Just it started creeping in, and you're kind of like starting to notice, like, what the hell is going on? How come everyone's turning into a woman? How come everyone's turning gay? How come everyone's turning, like being blackwashed or whatever? Like it just all these different kind of weird ideologies just seeping into the entertainment industry, and you're kind of like, well, am I weird for not liking this turn? Am I bad? Like, you're starting to ask yourself that question because you're being constantly told that you're bad if you don't approve of these changes that are being made. And like for me, my major awakening into what was going on with the entertainment industry was Star Wars. The Last Jedi. And at that point, I was just like, no, like what the actual fuck is going on? Luke Skywalker was never react like this. He would never, do this. This is not the Luke I know. This is not the Star Wars I know. And for me, it was deeply hurtful because Disney was a company that I loved and I grew up on. So for them to take, Star Wars, something else that I loved, and just completely destroy it, it just became this kind of like, a rolling ball down a hill where it's just, at that point, I'm like, what else is happening? Because then it was Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, you name it, everything was being turned. And I wasn't huge into comics books, but then when I got introduced to this sphere of YouTube, I realized, holy shit, it's not just Star Trek and Star Wars and all these other things. It's everything. It's literally like all the comic books, Spider-Man, Superman, like you fucking name it. They've got these dirty little hands in there, and they're turning all of it into political messaging and propaganda. And if you're not on the right side, then you must be silent. And in this case, the left side being the right side. And you must be silenced. And then I got introduced to Comicsgate, and I thought it was really interesting of a concept because, I was kind of always under the libertarian mindset anyway. Like you got to be the change you want to see. You got to understand that you got to separate from big industries if you want to see actual change. And then I found out about Comicsgate, and I guess I'll tell you what I think Comicsgate is, and you correct me if you think I'm wrong.
Okay.
To me, Comicsgate is a collection of artists and people who are sick and tired of what has happened to the comics industry. And so they decided to come together and create this kind of group to basically put out their own comics books and to put out their own comic books in order to kind of battle this other propaganda elite mentality of the mainstream comic books, which are DC, Marvel, those other big guys. And this collection of people was labeled all sorts of things because they were people who were questioning the mainstream narrative. And therefore, they were labeled bad, and from the people in DC and Marvel and everything like that. But it didn't mean that they were like some sort of group where you were the Lord and whatever of that you were watching what everybody else was saying and kind of approving it or not. It is an organic group of people that came to be about to stand up against what was going on. So am I correct in my assessment of what Comicsgate is?
Yeah, I mean, even more simply put, it's just a movement that resists woke in comics. And that you don't have to make comics to do that. You don't have to be a comic creator. You're a comic book fan, somebody who's just noticed that this is all going on. And it's a lot like what the Phantom Menace was, where we all got together to grief essentially about Star Wars, complain, and see if there was anything that could be done. And
Right.
my assessment of it was that there's not much that you can do for Star Wars because it's been wholly taken over by this new, parent company that is now going to basically exploit what George Lucas built to say some things that they want to say, to get some social engineering, some social messaging out there, and to see if they can change the way our kids are growing up. Well, that's ultimately the point of woke, is to take control of our children, which is why the educational institutions were where the indoctrination first began. But not all of us go and get higher learning somewhere. Not all of us can go there and become, crazy Marxist automatons for $100,000 a year. You have to reach people. If you're going to do this, if you're going to change people and turn them into, little socialists, little servants of the government, people who, will vote on command, people who are easily put into voting blocks based on their identity, you have to get them where they want to be. And where do they want to be? They don't want to be in school. They want to watch Star Wars. They want to watch Doctor Who. They want their comic books. They want cartoons. So they're starting young. They're getting them now. These people are getting our kids now in their Blue's Clues was woke.
Grade school, yeah.
Blue's Clues, an episode of Blue's Clues had drag queens in it, like animated drag
What?
queens.
When?
Yeah, look that up too. Blue's Clues drag queens.
God.
But you understand, they're going young, and the fact that we say to them, like the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis says, we've got to draw the line somewhere. Like, this woke gender ideology cannot be indoctrinated into kids between the ages of 4 and 8. And anybody who is like, that seems like a reasonable request. You know what? You can start telling kids that they can take chemicals to alter their gender at the age of 9. Is that okay? Look at this. Drag queen Nina West. Oh, it's you, is it?
Oh my
no,
God, her name is Nina.
Yeah. His name.
No.
His name.
His, her, whatever. It's, oh my God.
Scroll down. Let me see how it looks.
Oh my God. It's got curly hair too.
By the way, that's what every gay pride parade looks like, right? Everybody just waving flags. Hey, all right. They're not in thongs with their penises hanging out.
Dressed like dogs and and freaking kink gear.
Yeah, it's just fun, wholesome stuff like this. That's all it is. Just rainbows everywhere, right? That's what it is.
It's all very wholesome. I remember, because Ethan, I grew up in Vancouver. I'm Iranian. I immigrated to Canada when I was 10 years old. So I grew up in Vancouver, and Vancouver is very liberal, very liberal city, is as liberal as going to get. So I'm, I wasn't ever, shaded from gay pride. Like, gay pride was a huge thing in Vancouver for all my life. And at first it was just rainbows and sparkles and really cute, whatever, it was like that at first. But then as the years went on,
you start to realize what the agenda is.
Something completely different. It was just really weird. Even the progression, right? Because at first you're like, oh, look at all these things. Oh, everyone's proud of who they are. That's great. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, are they wearing kink fetish gear in front of kids? And they have the little girls petting them as dogs. And you're just like, oh my God, that is
By the
nuts.
way, Blue, why don't you check for your first clue underneath that drag queen's dress? I'm pretty sure you'll find a paw print somewhere around a crotch bulge, my puppy friend.
Oh my God. His clue is going to be there's balls down here.
So get a clue right now. So they want your kids. And the fact of the matter is, anyone who says they don't want your kids, that's paranoid. Then just explain the reaction. The even Disney offered to us, saying, back off of our kids between the ages of 4 and 8 in public schools. Back off of them. Their reaction was, fuck no. We're going to, we're getting your kids. The younger we get your kids, the younger, we're able to indoctrinate your kids, the easier it's going to be to pass more of this crazy stuff into their and confuse them, just utterly confuse these kids until every gender is just an abstract construct just assigned to you arbitrarily by the doctor. it is sick. It is bizarre. And ultimately, I think the plan is just to confuse people into submission, to put them into neat and tidy boxes where they're servile agents of their government, and to strip them of their freedoms. All of this is very, very, very dark. And it's way bigger than you and me. I mean, Nina, what can we do? We can talk about it, but I can't. My focus has become just laser focused on one aspect of this, and that's comics. I'll leave everything else to everyone else. But what can I do? How can I protect the comic book industry so that at least it's free for people like you and me and other comic book creators? If you ever wanted to make a comic book, you could say whatever you wanted to say. And that's what Comicsgate is trying to do. We just want to make it so that nobody has to answer to the left. Nobody has to get permission. People can't be gatekept. People can create and fund and have very successful comic book ventures without answering to woke. So that's Comicsgate.
Yes. And I think that you asked me a question of what can we do? And I think what we can do is what you're doing right now. And I think collectively, not that all of us are Comicsgate, but whatever that means for you in your own job or whatever, is go independent if you can. That's the thing. It's that you cannot be dependent on the government or on giant entities to come and save you. They've never wanted to. They just want you to conform to them. And that is why I highly respect people like you and people who go independent and people, comic book artists, going to do independent work like this right here. We've got Cyberfrog Dark Harvest. That is
that's in pesos. I'm like, gee whiz.
I know, right? That's what happens when you're
oh my god, I was like, wow, this has been a very successful show. There you go. Half of that, roughly half of that is a little bit better.
There's your USD there for you. But yeah, everybody needs to go and check out Cyberfrog Dark Harvest. Which issue is this? Is this the second one or the third one?
Okay, so everything up to date. And issue 3 is going to launch July 4th, Independence Day. I think it's a really good day to launch Cyberfrog 3. Just once again, every single year, redeclaring, reasserting our independence from the mainstream. And so I think symbolically in the United States, July 4th, that's what that means. Cyberfrog Dark Harvest, this campaign here has all the books on it. I actually just put every single book on there from Cyberfrog that you may have missed. Wreck Planet, Blood Honey, and Salamandroid Death Sting. And then this new installment, Dark Harvest, which is pertinent. It comes right after Wreck Planet. So if you go to this campaign and you want to start reading Cyberfrog, you can back Blood Honey. That's the first issue. You can back Wreck Planet. That's the second issue. And you can back Salamandroid Death Sting with look at these beautiful glow-in-the-dark covers that we do. Scroll down, like that's what they look like, and then that's what they look like in the dark.
Ooh, I love that. It's so like 90s vibe, like with the glow in the dark stuff, which I'm a huge fan of.
Well, that's, I'm old. Yeah, I mean, comics like these days, the interiors, the quality of what's being presented to people, not only is it propaganda, but it's not even like good. Like it's not even well presented. The 90s was a thing where comic books were so incredibly successful and were making so much money. Oh yeah, there's Cyberfrog's parents there.
My God, it's so creepy looking. No offense, Ethan.
Yeah,
they're creepy.
They mean well. They're aliens. They have different. Yeah, see, that's Amixin, who is extracting a fetal mass from one of the aliens to bring it to Earth to perhaps grow to conquer the Vespis. Once these alien hornets invade planet Earth, they have the secret. These aliens have the secret to how to stop the Vespis. And they're sending an agent to Earth to grow up there, to learn to be an Earthling, and to combat the Vespis when they arrive in the year 1998. So that's what this story is about. This is that's Dark Harvest that you're looking at. No, that's Salamandroid Death Sting that you're looking at right there. That's Salamandroid Death Sting. But
look at this. This is, I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, wait, can I get a big shot at this one? Oh no, I can't.
I don't know. It's there somewhere. If you scroll down, you'll probably be able to find all that stuff.
This is the kind of stuff you definitely don't get. There it is.
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff you don't get in new comics anymore, like women having female bodies and curvatures and boobs. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit,
Covered
that
in
is
blood and, looking scared instead of looking tough. Heather Swain becomes tough, but that's Cyberfrog's friend Heather Swain, who for some reason didn't fall victim to the hypnosis of the Vespis. The Vespis are able to conquer. These alien hornets are able to conquer because they charm humans into submission, so they won't even defend themselves. And so
wow.
they'll just lie down and get eaten.
Mhm.
But Heather Swain was able to survive that, resist that, and she's terrified of them. She's absolutely terrified of them, but she isn't. She's a fighter. She's a survivor. She's going to raise her kids. She's going to preserve what she remembers was good about humanity. She's going to do all those things. And at the end of Wreck Planet, something happens at the end of Wreck Planet that turns her from like someone who's living in the Pine Barrens, trying to create a simulacrum of human life that she remembers, a happy human existence, into a warrior. Something happens where she just turns and she goes, I've got to fight. I've got to fight.
Wow.
So that's
I gotta say, Ethan, Heather, I really identify with her because she's got like amazing curly hair. So I'm like, oh my God, I can see myself in her.
there aren't too many hair salons around anymore,
No.
but she does the best she can with what she has. I mean, I love the idea in Cyberfrog, the human race ended. I mean, basically civilization ended in 1998. So there's been no more music, no more art, no more fashion. So if you're going to find clothing, these people are wearing clothing from 1998. Like Lily's walking around in a Power Rangers t-shirt that her mom found in a Walmart. Like she's never seen Power Rangers. Lily's only 10 years old. Like she's never seen TV before. So, the human race ended 20 years before the date that this comic book is taking on. So all that stuff is really, really fun to do. Slang has stopped since 1998. Cyberfrog calls somebody home skillet. Like the human race has stopped evolving. They're basically in survival mode now and basically living off of whatever they had before.
That's incredible. I love this. And I just love the fact that you're so passionate about it. And I think that that's one of the keys in being successful as a creator is how much passion you have for your own work and for what you're creating. Like the other day, I was listening to another Comicsgate artist, I think Rini Draws, and she loves her work. You could tell how much time and effort and love she's just put in her world and what she's created. And these are the things that we need as creators we need creators to step up who are passionate about it instead of wanting to kind of just like these hornets that you describe. I feel like you've done a metaphor here. The hornets are like the freaking leftist communist people that just want to, make you submit to their will and the way of them seeing things, and so that you can be their slave for the rest of their lives, for your lives. And that is why this is incredible. And I hope that you have many successes further than this. I think that this is you. This is your work. This is your life's work, and I love it. I absolutely love this kind of stuff.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's important that what we do is tell stories. You bring up Irene Strakowski, and what I love about Irene Strakowski is it wasn't political for her. She's Comicsgate not because she's a big Trump supporter. I don't even know what her politics are. I have no idea. She could be a liberal. She could be a conservative. But the reason why is because she was being repressed in the comic book industry. She said, I want to do Fiendish. I got this idea that I want to do. And everyone around her ignored her. They wanted her to do girl Marvel book. Like, you're going to do Gwenpool or whatever it is, or, the new fake Spider-Man girl book. And that's what you get to do because you're just girl at Marvel. And she said, but I got this epic like fantasy book called Fiendish that I want to do. Can't you guys show me some support and help me? And all of her so-called friends None of them showed any interest in it. Nobody supported her. Nobody cared about her book, her comic. Nobody wanted her to succeed outside of the machine. And so she came over and she's like, I heard a lot of weird shit about Comicsgate. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like you guys are a good, creative, tight community. Mm-hmm. And we're a family. I mean, we all look after each other. We all love each other. Rini comes over here and launches Fiendish through Comicsgate, and it funds to like $130,000. I mean, she wouldn't make that much money at Marvel or DC in 5 years. And here she is making it every year and getting to do Fiendish. Why? Because there are people out there who recognize that we have to let people who are non-woke, people who just want to tell good stories on their own terms. And, Comicsgaters put up the cash to make that happen. There's Fiendish. Look how great that is.
Beautiful.
That didn't exist, because of, her friends.
It's absolutely beautiful. And I love seeing, especially women, again, it's no offense to anybody out there who's a dude, but it's good to see women succeeding in comic books as well, because it kind of gives you this kind of different picture, because everyone that I've ever seen in the mainstream talk about you is talking about how sexist you are and how sexist Comicsgate is and how, y'all hate women and all this stuff. So it's really amazing to see.
We love women. We just don't like feminists. It's like that. Our only problem is with activists. That's what we don't like. We don't like them because they're repressive. They're bad for art. That's all it is.
Feminists hate themselves too, Ethan. That's why they just hate everything.
So we have
themselves.
A little in common then. After all,
I
don't like I don't like feminists because that's the reason. They don't like women. They don't appreciate art. They want to stop people from doing things that make people human. Men like to look at unclothed women, beautiful women, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The idea that there is something wrong with it and that needs to go away, and these beautiful fantasy characters, women in bikinis riding dragons, and all these illustrations are sexist and need to stop. They hurt women. That's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's okay for men to like that, to want to look at that. It's okay for women to like that and want to look at that. And it should continue because the human form is beautiful, should be exaggerated. It's been the focal point of art since mankind learned how to create art. And these people want to stop it. And that's why I don't like them. So if it sounds like I don't like women, it isn't true.
I know.
I love
well, you're
women.
on my show. You must love women, even though, I am one. Apparently you don't hate us that much because you're here and you're giving me your time. But speaking of, other companies that don't see things the way we do, and honestly, probably are a bunch of feminists. I feel like this is definitely a feminist thing. And I know you made a video earlier about it, but my God, this was, this is just one of those things. What better way to demonstrate what we're talking about than Heavy Metal magazine mocking fans not happy with the new Armored Tirana cover? This chick, she's been, a staple of Heavy Metal, and how revealing her outfits were. I love all of these characters from that book and the movies, because I knew it from the movies, like the 1990 movies, like the Heavy Metal, and I was like, oh my God, these women are so hot, holy, look at their bodies. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But apparently in this day and age, leftists, there's everything wrong with the female body, and that's why they want to turn us all into men. But
if you scroll down, you'll see this is what she used to look how cool that is. Look at hot chick, not wearing very much, riding a dragon. That is fantasy art right there. Of course,
this is what I knew. This is what I grew up with. I was like, oh my God, she is miraculous. It's mesmerizing to look at a character like this. And
so
beautiful.
SJWs come in, they take over Heavy Metal, and this is what they do to her. Look at what is this?
Oh my God.
What is that? That's not. I don't want to read that. That's not what I want.
Why is everyone turned Islamic? I don't understand. Why has it? When I grew up in Iran, one of the things about the West that I really appreciated was the fact that women could wear mini skirts and women could wear, tank tops and show their bodies. And, dance and be free, and we're not going to be judged because we're women, and not every man is going to be a savage and want to attack you just because you're wearing a mini skirt. No, it's just like that's not like that. But everybody, like all the comic book artists now apparently just want to turn everyone into like put a buckle on her and like get it over with. Where is her chador? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. It's basically that is true. Like the SJWs in a lot of ways, amazingly, are very much like the Taliban. Again, it's repression. It's so weird that the radical left has become what we would call the repressive political party, because it used to be the thing they'd say about conservative Christians.
Yes, because it used to be liberal and freeing, and like you can let yourself go, and now it's bizarro world. It's the complete opposite.
It's a shame.
Actually nuts. And then they decided to attack the fans.
People look at that. I mean, not too many people are reading heavy metal nowadays, but the fans look at that and go, no, I don't like that. That's not what I want. Like, can you put her back in her bikini, please? Mm-hmm. And it's like, excuse me, like she has like more than one. Look at that. And by the way, like, look how angry she is, and she's bossing the men around, and I'm sure she's kicking. Look, she just killed a man on the ground there.
Oh
like,
my God, like, yeah.
Nobody wants that. Like, that's not who the character was supposed to be. The men are afraid of her. They're behind her. This is messaging. This is propaganda here. This is girl power, girl boss. Really not what people want. Okay? It's just not what people want.
Also, like, I feel like her shoulders are like really broad and like very manly. Like, not enough boobs. I don't know. It's just she just looks like a man. Covered from head to toe, literally, and like
scowling.
Her arms look like a man's arms. Like, it just looks really bad. I don't know.
It isn't good. And look, again, just it's not what people want. It just isn't what people want. So,
but then they're gonna tell you to go fuck yourself, though. Heavy metal will tell you most people have more than one outfit. It turns out. They're gonna attack you. Does changing clothes kill people? We had no idea. Do you change your underwear? This explains so much.
You're talking to your customers. You're talking about the people who plunk down $6 a month to buy your stupid magazine. Why are you talking to them like that? Like, the people who buy Cyberfrog, to me, are the holiest, most righteous, special, precious dewdrops of sunlight exfoliated from the wings of angels. My fans, my customers. I love you. How can I help you? How can I serve you? These guys hate their customers. Yes. Absolutely hate them.
And then they're asking, like, why are we failing? Like, why won't people buy our stuff? Well, maybe it's because you treat them like shit and you don't do what they ask you to do. So this guy's like, I'm torn. While I generally despise bikini armor as a whole, I also have a pretty severe disdain for the complete changing of iconic characters and looks. At what point does it become an entirely different character? And where exactly is the ridiculous line for scantily clad heroines? And he said, they say, have you read the book to understand the context of the outfit, or are you just making assumptions? Trust us, read it, and you will understand. Give us your money. They want you to give them their money.
Yeah, like, I don't want to. Like, why would I? It's like, eat this. It's nourishing. It's like, no, it looks like garbage. I don't want to eat that. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to eat it. It's as simple as that. You're creating a consumable product for consumers, and they're saying, no, we don't want it. It doesn't look like what we want. Listen to them.
Trust us. You will like this. You will like this. Trust us. What the fuck?
How do you fail this hard? And by the way, if you hate that character, why are you working for this magazine? And the other thing is, I'm sorry, but yeah, you know what? Like, superheroes do wear only one outfit. They don't change their clothes.
I don't remember Superman changing his clothes that often. I mean, he has different styles of the same suit later on because he's got like the black version. And
what about Charlie Brown? Do you have any changes of clothes?
No.
No, he doesn't change his clothes for some reason. Why?
Lisa
Why
Simpson,
is that?
Bart Simpson, they never change their clothes. I mean, a lot of cartoons, they just kind of stay the same. But I don't know. It's weird. It is a weird thing. It has come to our attention that some of you are confused that Tarana has the ability to change clothes. So to address this, we'd like to remind you that you too can change clothes, and to please do, especially your underwear. We've gotten complaints from the neighbors. They think they're being funny. They're like, oh, we're gonna like diss all our customers and tell them they're smelly basement dwellers.
High five. You certainly did tell all your customers.
Oh my god, like go change your undies. Like, oh my god, why are you calling your customers smelly?
It's bizarre.
It's so crazy.
And by the way, look at that. Does that say 14,000 likes? Are they even selling 14,000 copies of their magazine?
I don't know.
Like
That's a
they're
good
being
question.
prompted, they're being led into like Minecrafting themselves by people who aren't buying their magazine. It's like, yeah, high five. We like it when you tell your customers they stink. That's great. Well, are you going to buy our comic now? No, I don't. Your comic sucks. I'm not going to buy your comic, but we love that you're telling your customers that they're idiots. That's so fun on the internet.
It's incredible. And this is and I'm going to bring this back to now kind of where I land on these woke issues. Woke comics, that's your field, right? But woke Disney, that's my field. And I mean, I saw this today going around. Disney Plus sheds 4 million subscribers in second straight quarterly drop. Streaming losses narrow by 26%. Is this any surprise to you to see Disney Plus shed 4 million subscribers?
Well, yeah, like I want to know why. The Mandalorian is supposed to be the primo show. Like that's what's causing people to subscribe there, because they love the first 2 seasons. But once again,
apparently it's not that great anymore.
I haven't watched it, but from what I understand, here's the whole thing about creative people. Again, you have to just let them. As soon as the corporation gets involved and it becomes about money, it gets ruined. When it becomes we're making creative choices, like we're going to have Baby Yoda be in the series, even though it doesn't make any story sense at all. They ruined it. They got a great guy. They got Jon Favreau to come in there. He closed out the story of Baby Yoda in season 2. I watched it. I thought it was wonderful. Excited about season 3. And then they realized that it was really the Baby Yoda show all along. It wasn't ever the Mandalorian. Sorry, Pablo Pascal. It wasn't about you. It was about Baby Yoda. So look, rebrand, call it Grogu, and then see how Disney Plus does. But they forced Jon Favreau to bring. Why is Mandalorian still? He's not a Jedi. Why is he in charge of raising a Jedi? It makes no sense. And it's stupid, and it's clearly about marketing, and that's all. And people sense that. And I think watching Jon Favreau talk about how he was basically strong-armed into bringing Grogu back to Mandalorian season 3 when he wrapped up that story arc. And by the way, did anybody say to him, well, where are you going to go from here? Do you have another, okay, so the first 2 seasons was about Grogu. Now what's Mandalorian going to do? Did anybody ask him that? Do you think he might have had another idea? You want to give him another idea, another chance to come up with something as good as Grogu? No, it's got to be Grogu.
I think that he's out. I think they want him out. They've basically said, like, not they haven't said as much, but I think he's basically on his way out. He's probably quit by now. He's just like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Favreau is, you think?
Yeah, the Favreau is. They've basically like thrown this guy under the bus. I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the new like the Star Wars celebration behind the scenes stuff. Like Kathleen Kennedy didn't even mention his name once, like not even one time. And there's all these rumors now about how he's basically leaving Lucasfilm. And I mean, we all know Kathleen Kennedy's gonna get fired. EVS. I mean, we all know that. Like,
I don't think so.
She was fired 5 days ago. I mean, 5 years
ago.
Oh
yeah, forever. She's always being fired, right?
She's
perpetually.
Always being fired. I mean,
she's never going to get fired because, again, people are just looking at the bottom line over there. And when you just look at the numbers over there and you just see that, look, every Star Wars movie is making a lot of money except for, Solo, which lost money. She's performing just fine. Why would they get rid of her?
But see, that's the thing too. Like now we're talking about Lucasfilm stuff. So we're talking about, Disney Plus Star Wars properties. But what Disney Plus was really banking on as well, not just Star Wars, was the MCU. And the MCU is a fucking trash fire on Disney Plus. Nobody's watching the shows. The MCU has become a complete garbage heap. Did you watch any, what is the last MCU show you watched or movie?
WandaVision, which was great. I watched most of WandaVision. I loved it. Yeah, because I love old TV. So I was having a great time watching WandaVision. I have no problem acknowledging. To me, one of the things where fandom menace guys go wrong is when they when they can't admit that something is good. Not everything is woke. Some of this stuff is actually pretty good, but that's irrelevant. It's the company that's the problem. It doesn't matter. By the way, Star Wars Mandalorian season 3, from what I understand, isn't good, and it's the direction that it's going in creatively makes no sense, and it's going to lead to the collapse of that franchise. But what if it was good? It just still doesn't make a difference. The problem is that the company is resisting parents who are saying, "Do not trans our kids between the ages of 4 and 8," and they're getting involved in politics in Florida. And for that, they must be resisted. They canceled Gina Carano viciously when they didn't need to. They could have just said privately to her, "Things aren't working out. We're just going to close out your story as Cara Dune and have a nice day." That would have been fine. Disney has every right to fire whoever they want. But what they did was instead they issued a press release feeding her to rabid hyenas and calling her perfectly reasonable conservative Christian tweets abhorrent. Including this right here, which is people think she was minimalizing the Holocaust. I got bad news for you retards. The Holocaust Museum tweeted this before Gina Carano did. So this is their stance on the Holocaust. So Gina retweeted that, and they said, the people who spent 3 years calling me a Nazi said that Gina Carano's minimalizing the Holocaust. The irony is palpable. The hypocrisy. Ridiculous. So because of that, it doesn't matter. WandaVision was really good. I didn't get to see the last 2 episodes because.
But that's why you think it's good.
Maybe that's true. I don't know. It didn't end well. I mean, I was having a great time.
Awful. The ending, because I was like you. I really liked the beginning of WandaVision. I was like, oh, this is creative. Yay! They're doing something different. And then it just went from bad to worse to the ending, and then you're like, oh no, that was terrible. And then it just became the Wanda show. Fucking, Vision is just nowhere to be found, and then it leads to Multiverse of Madness, which is basically a giant fuck you to all of us who liked Wanda as a character. And of course Vision's not even in that movie, and it's just, which makes absolutely no sense. But it's fascinating to me that you, as a comic book artist, that you only watched WandaVision, didn't even finish it. Do you know how many MCU shows are there? There is a lot. I mean,
all of them.
A lot. So that speaks loads, though, for you as a comic book person to not be watching the MCU. Why is that, Ethan? Why are you watching it?
I'm so, it hurts my channel. I'm really good at making content dunking on Disney. That's something that I found out I was really good at, and I was building my channel, and I had a lot of subs, and I would probably still be building my channel subscriber count if I were still watching Disney movies and Disney content and making videos making fun of them. But I was so incensed with what they did to Gina Carano, that, and I got to speak to her on the phone, and she was very kind to me. I think she's a genuinely good person. And I related to what she went through because I went through it too. I went through the exact same thing that she went through, but on a smaller scale, because I wasn't working for Disney on Star Wars. I was just a DC
and you weren't on
artist.
Camera. A lot of people really don't know, some of the people who create the art more, people will know the Green Lantern, but not necessarily the comic book person who created it, right?
Yeah, but I felt the pain even still when your peers are turning on you, and even your friends are selling you out because they see which way the wind's blowing.
Mhm.
It's incredibly painful. It was awful, and I'll never forget it as long as I live,
Of
because
course.
I lived through it, and I'll never. It's a big part of my life now. So I
Mhm.
watched it happen to another person, and I can't support that company now, and I
I don't
can't.
either. Hey, I watch the shows. I never said I was signed up for Disney Plus, okay? I watch it, but I don't pay for it, if you know what I mean. But I mean, I
You're
feel like I
sailing
still
the high
I
seas.
have to sail the high seas because there's
Yeah.
no way I'm gonna pay for this company to destroy the IPs that I love. Because I mean, even like I said, I like certain parts of the MCU. I mean, the MCU was really fun at first phase. You know, like some of the coolest movies, Iron Man, Captain America. These are like some of the most awesome superhero movies out there. And then, you know, we get to phase 4 and it's aptly named MCU now by a lot of people, which I think is real. The MCU is real. And it became this just basically let's take over the male counterparts and have every single female version of that male character, even though they're not popular, even though nobody cares. The only one that they cared about, which was Black Widow and Wanda, they ruined. So it's just really ridiculous the kind of decisions this company seems to be making all the time, yet they're wondering and they're just left scratching their heads. Hey, why are we failing? Why are we losing this many subscribers? We're making bad decisions with Lucasfilm. We're making bad decisions with the MCU. We're, as you were talking about earlier, politically inserting ourselves in places that we do not belong. And then we just want this guy, Bob Iger, to come and save us all, which I don't think is going to happen. Do you think Bob Iger is going to save Disney, Ethan?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think he thinks Disney, where he thinks Disney has trouble is not based in reality. It's not what we think. So I don't think he's out to do anything. I think a lot of their support is coming from BlackRock. I think companies like BlackRock, these enormous
Mhm.
investment companies are actually installing their own people. They're choosing executives in exchange for investment dollars to go in there and turn. These are politically motivated companies, that are turning these places woke, and they have made up fake jobs now, like vice president of diversity. This is true. They actually are inventing weird
Mhm.
fake DEI jobs, and then putting these bizarre human beings,
Mhm.
genderless human beings in there, to basically make all this stuff happen, and they're getting paid for it, so they're not going to change. They shouldn't be getting. They're going to get your money anyway, whether or
Mhm.
not you watch their content. If we convince normal middle Americans to no longer purchase Disney stuff, this is the outrage of it. They're still getting your money because
Mhm.
ESG is investing their retirement portfolios in these companies should they go woke. So they're
Mhm.
still getting your money. They're still incentivized in that way to continue doing this stuff. And ultimately, yeah, like it's almost inescapable. We do need somebody to change. That's why I'm voting for Trump. Trump is aware of this stuff. He's aware of ESG. He sees what's going on. He wants to break that up.
He famously
His
said everything that woke goes to shit. So I mean,
Yeah.
he understands a lot. Now, speaking of woke and going to shit, are you gonna go see the new woke Little Mermaid with your daughter? Are you planning on that?
No. I will. She actually, here's the thing. I do have a little problem in my home because my daughter is 7 and she has autism and she's severely autistic. And
Oh.
so I'm learning a lot about autism, which I think she's wonderful. She's an amazing kid.
Mhm.
And guess what? She loves Disney.
Of
So
course.
I'm in real trouble. She's got her
Yep.
iPad on, but she likes what does she like from Disney? Oh, I don't even know what she likes from Disney, but she loves Disney characters,
Mhm.
and she wants to go to Disney World. And I got to
Oh.
somehow figure out a way to not bring her to Disney World if I can, and take her somewhere just as good. But
Universal.
Universal, I know the problem is it's for adults. Like is there a lot of
they have stuff for kids too, because they have Minions Land, and they have like they have Avatar. They have like a lot of stuff there that are for little kids. Harry Potter, although I don't know if she'll like Harry Potter, because that's a little bit of an older.
It would be fun. I would, if Harry Potter's Warner Brothers, and J.K. Rowling. Like I actually think about this stuff now. Like once you have your eyes open to this stuff, like you can't close them again. My wife wasn't political at all, you know, and now like she sees this stuff and she's like, that's woke, like that's bullshit. Like once your eyes are open to it, you can't shut them again. So yeah, it's like, do I get her into Harry Potter? Yes, because of J.K. Rowling. She has my permission to like Harry Potter. Yeah, Dr. Seuss.
This is really funny to me though, because they constantly talk about just, you know, doing live action stuff, and they're doing like live action CG for her hair, like because they even put CG on her hair, and like there was like all this stuff going around like earlier when we saw the promos to be like, well, why didn't you make her hair red, like, you know, like straight red at least? And they were like, well, that's not realistic. And it's just like, well, why are you trying to be realistic in the Little Mermaid that's supposed to be not realistic? And you have, you know, fucking Sebastian looks like absolute shit. This is all just awful. But that's the worst I know. But the worst, Ethan, is that E actually thought that this was a good picture.
That? Oh, why would you do that?
They thought this was a good idea.
What's going on with her eyes? Her eyes are in motion, and one of them is, oh, what is that? That's terrible.
When I saw this going around, I thought this was a meme people had made.
Look at what you
wrote. It's not. Like, E said she is the moment and posted this picture.
That is something else. Wow, that's really awful. Yeah, I don't know why they continue to do this. I guess it's just a cash grab. You know, they know Little Mermaid is a popular movie. They know that's a big hit, so we can't reanimate it, but do a live action. It's a cash grab. You know, but why make her black? I don't understand. Like, what is this? This idea.
This is just about, this is in line with the same ideas that what you are going through with comics. We don't have any more ideas, so we're gonna turn everyone gay or black or Latino or like whatever else. Like, we're just gonna change their gender, we're gonna change their sex, we're gonna change their race, that's what we're gonna do now, because that we don't have anything new. We have no creativity left, because creativity takes something from inside you, you know, something that they've killed off with all their communist bullshit, so they can't create anymore. So they're like, well, what can we do? Oh, we can destroy things.
I don't think they think they're destroying this. I think they're, I want to, they are destroying it. I don't think so. I think they think this is representation. And I understand representation to a certain degree, because I talked on Timcast about like Lego and how girls need to see themselves in their entertainment. Like, that's a feminine trait. Like, when I heard representation, I'm like, that's bullshit. What are you fucking talking? I don't need to see myself in any of these characters. I want to be them. I don't want them to be me, because I'm a man. So it's the other way around. But representation is something that girls like. Now, I see, when I go to the stores now, when I go to Target, I see Barbie, and they're all different colors of Barbie. And I think that my friends might see that as woke and wrong. And I will disagree with them. If that kind of thing is supposed to happen anywhere, it should happen to Barbie, because Barbie doesn't have an identity. Barbie's just a doll.
But Barbie was always like that too. I seen that. Well, there was different versions of her. What was the black version's name? Stacy. It was like her friend.
Stacy, but you can call her Barbie if you want to. I mean, it doesn't matter. Barbie is the little girl.
But Barbie was the point. Like, that was the point of her. Like, that's why I never because recently they came out with like autistic Barbie or whatever, and I was like,
Down syndrome Barbie. And by the way, and conservatives embarrass me because they jump all over that and say, what is this shit? I don't know that. Like, here's the thing. That's a noble idea. I have a daughter who has autism, like I just said. And so I appreciate the effort to make her feel like she can be a pretty princess. But I don't know if Down syndrome kids want to play with a Down syndrome Barbie. I think they want to play with pretty Barbie, but
I
maybe
think
that looks like them a little bit. Like this, I can understand black or like Asian Barbie and all that stuff. That makes sense to me, I think. But the
I
Down
think
syndrome
to
thing is a
me,
misfire.
yeah, but the thing for me is that, like, even when I see stuff like Down syndrome Barbie, I'm like, well, Barbie, because I grew up on Barbie and I was a Persian girl and none of the Barbies looked like me. I didn't care. There was one that was like the Jasmine Barbie, and of
Mm.
course I had to have it because I was like Princess Jasmine, but I love Princess Jasmine. It wasn't because I saw
But she
myself
looks
in
like
her.
you, though. No, but I
But I
mean,
didn't
she.
care. I the one I wanted even more than Jasmine Barbie was Ariel Barbie, because I love Ariel. She was my favorite princess when I was growing up, and I love her red hair, and I thought she was the most beautiful princess. And I never saw myself in her, but I saw myself in her journey of wanting to be a part of a different world, because that's what I wanted to be, because I was
That's
growing up in
perfect.
Iran and I
Yeah.
didn't want to be, trapped in that hellhole, and I wanted to be part of the different world. And for me, that meant the West. So,
Yeah.
it was very different. But for like the Down syndrome Barbie or this one,
Mhm.
I don't hate the idea, but I was always just like, I don't understand, because Barbie, that's what Barbie was. Barbie was every girl can be anything they want. That's why you have astronaut Barbie. That's why you have, Dr. Barbie. You have like, President Barbie. You have every Barbie job that you could possibly have. There's a Barbie of. And to me, like, that's what it meant. It's that for the little girls, that they could be whatever they want to be. And now we have this. And I just don't think that this matters, even because I think that the girls who are playing with those Barbies anyway were already seeing themselves in the Barbie. They were already like, oh, that's
Yeah.
me, because I can be whatever Barbie is, because
Right. I think
that
once
was the
you
match.
understand the way girls and boys play and how it's different,
Mhm.
then you understand why Barbie, which was always a girl's vehicle for her imagination, for her
Mhm.
personal aspirations, you
Yes.
understand why Barbie can be multi-ethnic and maybe have Down syndrome. Although I don't know that. Again, I just don't know that Down syndrome kids want this. But maybe if they do, then yes, we should give it to them. But when it comes to something like Ariel, Disney's also doing like different races of Ariel, Little Mermaid, different races. These are established characters that have personalities.
Mhm.
Ariel is Ariel. You don't
Mhm.
race swap her. She's not somebody for you to, you don't project yourself into Ariel,
Mhm.
even though you can relate to her struggle, her desire to be free and independent from her parents or whatever that stupid movie was about.
Mhm.
Ultimately, she is a character. Belle is a character from Beauty and the Beast. She's
Mhm.
distinct. She's got a personality that may differ from yours. It might
Mhm.
probably does. So when you're race swapping those characters, it's a little weird. But the Barbie thing, I get. I think that understanding the way girls play and imagine and fantasize, that makes perfect sense to
I
me.
honestly have no problem with it. I'm like, why not? Like, I mean, at
Sure.
this point, there's so many different kinds of Barbie. Like, why not? If that's what they want, then that's what they want. That's what they want to play with. Sure. I don't have a problem with that. But, race swapping Ariel just because I think that, like, black little girls can see themselves in her. I don't understand that mentality, because I'm like, I liked Ariel and I didn't see myself in her physically. I just saw
Isn't that
myself in the
weird?
journey. It like that.
Right, Nina, because that's the conflict. That is the dissonance. That's the
Mhm.
problem. Because again, it's the way girls like to read stories and hear stories told. They want it to be about them. And
Mm,
so when you actually create a story for a girl in which the main character is actually like a female with her own personality, her own distinctive traits, her own, if she's empowered, if she isn't, there's a problem. Because like as a man, I can watch that story and I just go, oh yeah, there you go, it's a story about this little girl with a fishtail.
mm.
And I'm fine with it, because that's just the way men just kind of, we don't have to see ourselves in other characters. We can just watch a story happen about characters that aren't
But
us.
didn't you see
Women
yourself in
can't do that.
Batman?
No.
Never?
No, I saw Batman and went, boy, I wish I was Batman. I didn't go, Batman is like me.
Okay.
You see
I
what I
wish
mean?
I
That's
was
the difference.
Batman. I see.
Right. That's how boys are. Boys go, G.I. Joe. I wish I was G.I. Joe. That'd be fucking
But I
awesome.
did that too. I did that for Sailor Moon. I was like, I wish I was Sailor Moon. I wish I
Yeah.
could have that power. And then, like, you know, later on with Spider-Man, actually, I was like, I wish I was like Spider-Man, but he was a man. I didn't think, you know, Spider-Man. I didn't want to see myself like. That's why I'm like Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man or whatever. Like, ugh, like no, Peter Parker. Like that's the
That's the
guy.
struggle between men and women in comics and in this kind of storytelling, because women see things again. You know, I always say like the most successful fiction with women, and this is great. There's nothing wrong with it. I completely understand. Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, romance novels. The female protagonist in all of these books and all of these super popular bits of fiction, even Harry Potter. What exactly is Harry Potter's personality? Can you tell me who he is?
Like a geeky weirdo guy that doesn't really like, he's an orphan boy, so he's just like has no friends, and he's been fucking stuck under a closet, so he's literally a loner that's never had any friends until he finally makes some. So he's
And then
like
everybody validates him around him and tells him how great he is, even though he's a nerd. It is you. It is the person who was reading Harry Potter. That's you. That's not Harry Potter is not some other character. Harry Potter is the exact type of person, how that person sees themselves. That's Harry Potter who's reading Harry Potter. That's why it works so well with girls. So, you know, all of these stories where the main protagonist, female usually, is a blank slate for you to put yourself into. Like, you know, if you're a beautiful woman or just a woman, just a girl, you don't have to be beautiful, who's reading 50 Shades of Grey, you're just like, I want to be whipped by this dude or whatever. I never read the book, whatever goes on. And I heard some crazy stuff. Twilight, you're
I'm
like,
sure you didn't read it. Duh.
I swear to God, I did see all the Twilight movies and I went, what the hell is this? Like,
I heard
this
they're
is not...
remaking them.
Can they remake them with a brand new story where something actually happens? Because I mean, I like, first of all, like, okay, so this is the thing. The story's about a girl who was absolutely a nobody. She's a cipher. She's a blank. Put yourself there. Okay, there's nothing special about what's her name. I can't even remember what her name is right now.
I don't remember either.
It begins with a B. Is it Bella?
Bella. I think Bella. I don't remember. Yeah.
Bella, okay, and she, like the werewolf boys who don't wear shirts and they're all handsome, they love her. They're obsessed with her. She's so cool. There's something about her that they're obsessed with her. And the vampire boys, listen, they're creatures of the night, children of Satan. They eat human beings, but they're not going to eat her. You know what I mean? Because
not in Twilight though, because they were like daywalkers and shit.
Right. Well, that's true. Whatever it is, she's so awesome that like these pretty boys that are monsters that really are dangerous, they're not going to eat her. That's a female fantasy.
It is.
That is
true.
So you go as a man and you go watch that. And by the way, Bella becomes you. Like you, any woman who reads that goes, she's such a blank slate that it could be me. She's kind of a loser, a nerd, whatever. She's not, you know, there's no way that she's doing better than me. So she could be me. But I go there and I watched all the movies and I'm just like, okay, this is building up to a fight between the werewolves and the vampires. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like make it happen. Like all through the movie, I'm like, I will sit here to
waiting
watch
for that fight. Yeah.
Right. And then they're about to fight and Bella goes, stop fighting over me. and they go, okay. And then the credits roll, and that's the end of the movie. I couldn't believe it. It's such shit.
It's
but
dumb.
It's for girls. It isn't for me.
Well, you know what,
Ethan?
women. I reject that premise that it's for girls. Maybe it's for dumb girls because I freaking hate Twilight, and I thought Twilight was shit. And if you want a true vampire story, which ended really badly, was True Blood. I mean, like that's where the real shit is at. And
yeah, True Blood's great.
Women like True Blood because, you know, there's sex appeal. I mean, you got, God, Alexander Skarsgård as a vampire god that you're like, oh, yes. Like,
but once again,
you can eat me. Sure. That's fine.
Somebody should cut that out and clip it. But once again, who is Snooki? It's not Snooki, Sookie. Sookie's from the Jersey Shore. Snooki versus Snooki in True Blood. But no, who is Sookie? Like,
that's everyone.
Everyone, it's
girl,
everyone.
Right?
But at the same time, what's the difference with Sookie and like Bella? Sookie is special. She is, spoiler alert, she's a fairy.
She's a fairy.
Yeah, she's got special tasty blood that drives the vampires crazy. They gotta have sex with her. They gotta bite her,
Mhm.
but in a loving way. You know, like that's it's still the same thing. It's just a little bit better because stuff actually happens in True Blood, but it's still for
Yeah.
girls.
But it's
You
still
know,
fun. It ended so bad though. Did you watch
I
the
didn't
ending?
watch the last season.
Oh,
I
good,
quit. It
don't.
got
It
too
was
nuts.
fucking terrible. Like it was so bad that like the second to last season was bad, but then oh my god, the ending. It was like it was like the original Game of Thrones. Like you know how like Game of Thrones the ending sucked. That was like the other HBO show that just completely went to shit.
Well,
Was
every
that one.
time, Nina, like this is the thing that people need to understand. You want to know why? It's because George R.R. Martin didn't write it. See, every single time, you want to know what's wrong with the MCU? Stan Lee's dead.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Sorry, Tolkien's not around anymore. You can do
True.
his stuff, but once you try to go past what he did, you're going to fuck up. Star Wars, George Lucas isn't in control anymore.
It's
Walt
true.
Disney is
Trek,
dead.
Gene Roddenberry's gone.
Star Trek, right? Gene Roddenberry's gone. So it's basically these things that are out there that are now in the permanent land of fan fiction. Okay, because that's all any of this is professional fan fiction. Because it can't be from the original source. So it's just not going to be good. And that's the same thing. They did that to him. They did that to Martin while he was still alive. They ended his story badly. And you think you're going to get the last book out of him? You ruined his story. What do you? He's like, can you imagine? I have the work okay. I'm working on the 3rd issue of Cyberfrog right now. Imagine if HBO did a Cyberfrog show and they did the first 2-3 issues of Cyberfrog as I laid it out, but I'm sitting here trying to get the 4th one done and they need to get so they end my story for me. Why would I'd be so depressed. I would never finish the 4th book ever. I'd just be like, it's over. Like they ruined it. They killed it.
I mean, George R.R. Martin, I feel like I've always been in the camp of saying that I think he finished the book. I think he's done. He's just not going to put it out until he dies. Like he's basically like given the, his state or whatever instructions on when to release it, like after he dies, because I don't think he's willing to sit through the fans shitting on him because they don't like the ending. I think.
Oh, what a cool idea that is. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he's just like, you know what? Like once I'm dead, release it, and I won't have to care because I'll be
at peace. Yeah,
exactly.
He's got enough money, so what does he care?
Yeah, and until then, he'll just sit there and be like, like hit them, like everyone thinking that he's never gonna finish the books, but he's actually finished it. He's just waiting to release it when he's dead.
Incredible.
That's my theory. It's either that or he's just never gonna finish it because he gave them the ending. That was the ending. And I don't think he realized that nobody liked that ending. So now he's trying to rewrite it and now he can't. He just can't rewrite something he's already kind of committed to,
theory. That's a good theory too.
It's two. Those are my two theories about Game of Thrones. Now, one last thing I want to bring up to you, Ethan, is the state that the DC, because we talked about Marvel, MCU. Now, you know that DC is going through some changes as well. You got James Gunn in charge now. And recently, I think, DC Comics and DC EU is completely different. Recently, for DC Comics, Jim Lee has been promoted to president, publisher, chief and creative officer. So there's that. And then there's James Gunn and Zaslav heading the DCU, the cinematic DC universe. So, and of course, James Gunn, one of his first acts was to get rid of Henry Cavill and then start talking about making Superman Legacy. So I guess my question to you is, A, what do you think of this new leadership at DC Comics with Jim Lee heading up the being president of it? And 2, what are your thoughts on James Gunn leading the new Superman Legacy movies? Like, are you excited? Do you have doubts, or are you kind of like, I don't know what this is going to end up like? What are your thoughts on all of that?
So, Jim Lee being promoted to president doesn't seem like it's much of a change, really, because he's been in a leadership position for so long. I was there when he was co-publisher or something like that. I don't remember what his title was, but he shared it with Dan DiDio. DC to me seems to be in a state of treading water right now. And I say that with love. I don't see a vision. I don't see a unified vision for where to go with these characters moving forward, which is something that Dan DiDio always brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You could disagree with him, but he'd say, this is called the New 52. This is called Convergence. This is called Rebirth. And this is the new initiative that DC is going through, that everybody is going to be a part of to make our books all sell in conjunction with one another. And I don't see that at DC, because I don't think that Jim Lee is that. I think he's a visionary, but I don't think he's that kind of a visionary. He's not an editor. He's not an editor. He's an artist, and that's a fine thing. He's a designer, and that's where his strength lies. And I think DC promoted him because they don't want him to get away. He's such a good artist, such a good designer. They put him to work. He mostly draws everything.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want him to get away. But
is he woke?
Yes. I think he's woke in a sort of kind of executive sort of. I'm an executive of a big company kind of a way. Like, is he personally an activist? No.
Okay.
But his politics are going to be far to the left of mine, because that's what everyone around him is, and that's that environment.
Sure.
He's in that fishbowl. He doesn't know he's wet, but believe me, he's wet, and that's just the way it is. Like I see DC Comics just kind of treading water with only Batman books selling, continuing to make characters gay until every single, your boy Zach made a really good, they're all gay. Your boy Zach made a great video, Comics Matter with your boy Zach. Go subscribe to his channel. He made a great video where he points out that basically SJWs have viciously made every single legacy progeny of big DC superheroes homosexual in some way, so that they will not breed. The most vicious of these situations, Superman. Kal-El comes from Krypton, last survivor of Krypton. Okay. He grows to adulthood somehow, finds that he can breed with the local population of humans. He impregnates one of them. And so, 8 billion Kryptonians who died in an explosion have to witness in horror as Jonathan Kent is a homosexual. The guy who could bring back the Kryptonian race likes to put it in guys' butts. So
God,
it's true. Like, that's it. That's the end of the bloodline of Kryptonians, because leftists are so stupid. They're so goddamn stupid that like they would do that. Like, that is a horrible story choice, a horrible idea. You have doomed Kryptonians with this choice. For that, fuck you. And every single one of these characters moving forward seems to be asexual, gay, bisexual, lesbian. None of them are breeding. None of these characters are breeding. If you talk about something like Superman Legacy, let me ask you something, James Gunn, another guy. You're another one over there with your weird, fidgety, bizarre sexual politics. What do you mean Superman Legacy? What is his legacy? His only son is gay. He's not going to have a legacy. I mean, what do you want? Like, this is so stupid. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be fantastic if like Superman had a grandson? Well, he never will. He never fucking will. And you know what? We got to sit there and watch Superman go, I'm so glad my son is gay and he gets to be himself. Give me a hug, son. I'm so proud of you. Can you impregnate somebody, please? Jesus
oh my
Christ.
God. You know what drove me nuts, Ethan, when I saw Superman, because I went through a whole crazy phase when it was during COVID. But when I saw Superman wearing a mask and saying I was like, this motherfucker's from Krypton, y'all. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's not gonna be wearing a fucking COVID mask on his face. He kryptonite, like that is his fucking thing. Makes him
the germs
fall.
would not make. He doesn't get a cold. He's not human. He's not susceptible to that kind of a virus, you idiots. He doesn't need to wear a mask.
No,
but he's setting a good example. No, we don't need to either. That's right.
but not
I mean,
especially not Superman. And then meanwhile, he's like, let me go to like the gay pride parade and like the fucking signs up and shit. And I'm like, this is what's happened.
that's a magnificent cover. Like if you look at that cover that you're referring to, where Superman and Aqua Glad are sitting there, gay Aquaman are sitting there like protesting, like behind them, and that same thing. There's a fucking Kraken that's tearing a boat apart, and they're holding signs up, protect the climate. Get to work! What the hell is wrong with you? Go save the people on the boat. Oh my God, I just want to fuck. Sorry, Nina. I know this is your channel. I don't mean to.
It really. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found the cover we're talking about because it was ridiculous. Like I'm seeing this and I'm seeing Superman wear a mask and I'm like, is this really what it's come to? Is this what we're at now with Superman? Of all fucking superheroes, he's Superman.
What the fuck is this? There are people dying behind you, you assholes. Who drew this?
The fucking Aquaman is like standing there like, isn't this your territory, bro? Like, this is a fucking...
I love DC Comics so much. This is why this drives me nuts. I worked at that company at a time when responsible editors were working there, and they would have rejected this cover. See, that's the thing. They taught me what superheroes were because I was doing Cyberfrog, and Cyberfrog was like Deadpool. Cyberfrog would do whatever the fuck he wanted, bitch smack old ladies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. When I worked for DC Comics, they taught me what these superheroes were, what they represented, how they would always put other people before them, and they needed to always be acting heroically. Mm-hmm. Those editors are gone. They were fired. And this is what we have now, right here. We got this going on right now. Save the people in the goddamn boat, Superman. Superman, if you could just tear yourself away from your pink-haired twink for 1 second. If you could stop licking testicles for a fraction of a minute and stop the Kraken from killing the people on the whaling ship or whatever that is back there, the yacht.
Meanwhile, this motherfucker's saying there is no planet B. So
yes, there is. It's a fucking. There's 52 different alternate Earths. Jesus Christ.
So they want to know, but that's the thing. This sign makes it so that this is the real planet. Like this is ours. This is ours.
My wife's gonna come down here and be like, "What is going on down here?" Any second now. You're waking the kids up. This drives me insane.
Andrea.
Oh my God, this drives me nuts.
This is what they're trying to tell us, is that this is our planet. There's not even a planet B. So this is us. We're fucked. Our Superman's gay. Yeah. We're all fucked. This is what's going on. And it's all terrible.
How were things at DC? Not good. Not good. And by the way, I mean, it's seriously, somebody, Jim Lee, sit down and talk to your stupid creators over there and start to get them in line. You represent the legacy of superheroes. They need to be admired. They could be gay if they want to, whatever the fuck. But that needs to be secondary, okay? We'll deal with that later. They need to be admirable heroes who put themselves second, put humans first, and always save the day.
But now,
heroes.
Ethan, that's one of the things that James Gunn has kind of been spouting. Like, I want to bring back Superman to, the American way, truth, justice, and the American way. I want to bring back Superman to what we knew. He's saying all the right things about Superman. Do you believe him?
I want to know what he was doing on Epstein's Island. Okay? That's what I want to know. What were you doing there, James? And you come, You know what? You tell us what you were doing on Epstein's Island, and then I'll talk about Superman with you.
Okay.
What the fuck is going on?
That's fair. I mean, that's a fair question. I didn't know he was on there. Shit. He is saying that Warner Bros. He says James Gunn explains Warner Bros. Will not be providing notes on Superman Legacy. Reveals that Warner Bros. And DC Studios are two separate entities. So again, he's saying all the right things that people want to hear. Like, DC is not going to make it woke or whatever. There's just certain things that are, above their heads, which is basically what's happening with this character. So I think that it's just all very interesting I personally am kind of like Anna. I cannot believe they got rid of Henry Cavill. I cannot believe that was his first decision to get rid of Henry Cavill. But I also like the things he's saying about Superman, because that's the Superman I grew up with, the hero. What you're describing, he's the hero, the one that wants to save lives. Not this specifically, this one, like not the Zack Snyder Henry Cavill Superman.
You know else who said this? You know who else said this same shit about Superman? Bryan Singer said the same shit about Superman. Do you think this is a coincidence? You know what's going on in Hollywood right now?
Tell me.
Parties with little boys. I'm tired of it. And all these people we love Superman. Oh, yeah, we love Superman. Hiding in plain sight, an open secret.
Ooh.
Thank you.
No, it's that's fine, because that's how I feel about the Flash, Ethan. I feel like the only reason Ezra Miller has a job is because he knows where the moles are on every single one of those motherfuckers' bodies. That's why.
That was a thought. Yeah, that's something to that.
That's what's going on. Ethan, you've been so wonderful. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna get into some of these super chats now, because people have been so generous and sending us super chats all night. So we're gonna get into some of these now.
Was that a good performance, Nina? Did
I
do a
love
good job?
it. Absolutely. You are fucking king, man.
It's a slow build until the volcanic eruption.
Yes, we're here for it. Russell Hall for 2 says, nobody grabs the Pew C like Russell Hall. Good to know. 200 Watt Studios for 2. Rappaport lives with pigeons. It's true. Russell Hall for 2. Russell Hall has excellent grip strength. Oh my God. Okay, wait, hang on. I wanted to get to a couple of these other ones here. Ian so forth, thank you for the 50 big ones. The moment an artist is enthralled to an ideology, it's the moment censorship occurs. I very much agree with this. And then again, Ian for another 10. I grew up in the Middle East. I was in my mid-20s before I knew there was a mermaid scene in Hook. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Oh, because of the censorship? That's funny. Then there was Jason Smoot here for $20 saying, Nina, with your expertise, can you comment comment EVS and his love for Rose Tico? Can I comment on it? Yeah. I think it's a beautiful love. It's a beautiful love that should be preserved. I mean, I think that, well, the thing is Ethan loves women in general. So I think that when Ethan was going off about Rose Tico, he had every right, because he was saying what we're all thinking, which is, why did you uglify this beautiful Asian goddess and put her in a fucking potato sack? So
get her boobies out. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone needs more cleavage. You know, Ethan, what happened to boobs in movies? Like, have you noticed that it's all gore, and then like we're not allowed to see any boobs or nips? Like, it's like, okay, you can see like people's skin and flesh being torn apart, and like blood and gore and bones breaking and all that shit. But God forbid we see a titty.
Yeah, bust them out, ladies. Like, what's going on? What are you hiding?
What is going on? I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's bad. It's bad. Thank you for that, Jason. And then there was another one that he sent in that was a $20 super chat, hashtag milkshakes, which is also AKA boobs. Yes. Thank you for that, Jason. And then Russell Hall. Okay, no, wait. We got those ones. Thank you. Then we got Ward Fab Stream for 5 mid-2000s. AP officially approved of opinions in the hard news. That's why the Bible AP style guide rules the media choices. Any comments on this? I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean.
But thank you. Thank you. Then we got John Burns, 279. Maple Leafs didn't lose. Maple Leafs didn't lose. Oh my gosh. Then thank you, Taylor Cooper, for becoming a member of the channel. You are amazing. And also, Taylor Cooper gifted 5 memberships to the channel. So if you were gifted a membership, make sure you thank Taylor Cooper.
I didn't get one.
Aw. John Burns, thank you for the 279. 1% increase in unemployment rate equals 37,000 deaths. Wow, that's a lot. John Burns again for 279. I read St. Army's Tale by Orson Scott Card in school. Cool. Bird Up for $5 says, my awakening about SJW stuff was Gamergate. It's also the first time I recall seeing blatant and broad fan baiting in the form of anti-gamer articles. That was another crazy one. I mean, they're kind of still doing that too, like with the whole, I mean, gamer stuff, like changing gaming characters and everything like that. They're trying to take wokeism to Japan too, and it's thankfully it's not working just yet. It's all bad. It's a disease. It's a disease of the mind. 200 Watt Studios for 2 says Blue Balls Clues. Oh God. And then John Edgar here for 5 says, hi Nina, hail Ethan. Speaking of CG, has anyone heard from Mandy Summers lately? What happened to her? Is she okay? Haven't seen her on YouTube in weeks. Any comments on this, Ethan?
You can find out what happened to Mandy Summers with a quick Twitter search or anything like that if you want to. Her fans miss her, and I hope she decides to come back. The internet is a cruel place.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Ethan just said. And I don't know if you're watching out there, Mandy. Just know that I have your back and I love you. And fuck the haters. That's all I have to say about that. Then we got the towering Otakon. Thank you so much for the 5. It says, we should always be thrilled whenever a creative industry decentralizes. Innovation explodes with all the good and the bad, as it should be. This is true. That's what, well, the world is like the yin and yang. Can't have the dark without the light, and so on. James Caran for 2 SJWs would accept Sharia. We're not anti-Muslim. They would. I'm telling you. They're just like, a hop, skip, and a step away from it. Sometimes conservatives really piss me off too, Ethan. Like, I'm not going to name names, but there's just like, certain ladies out there that are in the conservative sphere. And, they talk about how like, women should cover up more, or whatever. And I hear, and I'm like, you're a conservative girl and you're talking about women covering up more. Like, why don't you just there's a religion.
It should be the other way around now. I mean, yeah, that is weird. Like, to me, like at this point, and I know some of my LDS brothers disagree with me, brothers and sisters, I understand. But I'm somebody who appreciates what God made. Okay. And that's the difference between me and all the rest of you, people who don't want to see women unclothed. Women should be naked, and when they're naked, they should be praised for it. I saw Britney Spears getting naked, and I said, good for you. Like, I know you're mentally ill profoundly right now, but like the fact that you're getting naked, thanks. Thank you. And whenever women do that, I'm just like, thanks very much. I appreciate that. You're making the world a more beautiful place.
What about the obese ones?
No, not them.
Yeah, not them.
No fat chicks. I'm talking about beautiful women.
Yeah, no fat chicks.
I want to see what God made, not Cheetos,
Yeah, that's what man made. God made is different. Man made, yeah, that's also man made is men turning into women. Just letting you guys know. That's also.
Yeah, we don't want to see that either.
Damaj Knight for $2 says, hail Nina, sup, brother Ethan.
Hey, what's up, Damaj Knight? Yeah, good guy.
Clay, thank you for the $2. What the heck's going on with Jamie Foxx? I don't know. I wish him. I hope he feels better. I know he's like kind of like on his deathbed, but there
are all these conspiracy theories that he said that P. Diddy was gay, and P. Diddy had him whacked. And I watched a whole video about that, and I was like, that's very plausible. Yeah.
Well, there's like all these conspiracy theories about how like he was supposed to testify against like Biden and Obama or something about some like funding shit. And they're like, oh, did he get killeried and like all this stuff? And I'm like, really? Like, I mean, my mind goes to like the Fauci ouchie, but whatever. I mean, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that too. But anyway, I like the idea of P. Diddy. He said P. Diddy and Usher were getting it on. And he witnessed it, and he spoke about it glibly, and P. Diddy is having him whacked.
I can see why P. Diddy would do that.
Yeah, I can too. I believe that. Like, if that were true, he would.
P. Diddy would, because it's like, you got to protect your rep. Like, you can't let people go around talking shit,
Yeah.
Thank you, Xander Zantz, $1.89 says, Nick Rackets is not ashamed of reading 50 Shades. That's because he's into weird shit. Jason Smooth, thank you for the 10, says EVS should be running DC. Yeah, but I think that if he did, Okay, that's a good question though. If you did run DC, what's the first thing you would do? Would you just clean house? Would you be like, you know what, you're all fucking fired? Like, what would your first act be as a DC president?
I'd persecute my enemies. I'd fire them, all of them. The first day, I'd fire them as painfully as I could, and then I'd quit the next day.
Then you would quit. What would be left? Somebody has to run that shithole.
My laughter. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really not interested in running DC at all. Not at all.
Oh, there you go. Grumpy Old Ninja, thanks for the 5, says, Gun Plata, the right to HS about Superman. Nina, while also saying that he wants to bring stories from Tom King, please ask Ethan to explain. Oh, God, that's right. He did say that thing about Tom King.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Well, I think, what he's doing is he's trying to show, I don't think he knows who Tom King is really, but he's trying to demonstrate that he's working closely with the comics division. And therefore he's going like, okay, who's the top writer at DC right now? And he thinks it's Tom King. So he's working with Tom King.
You think he's kind of, yeah, I agree. I don't think he knew exactly who Tom King was, but like maybe he does now though, because like you kind of start learning the ropes as you get in.
Yeah, like somebody else tried to do it. Ava DuVernay did the same thing. Oh, Tom King is the hot writer over there right now. No, he's not. He's a femboy weirdo like Spook who is writing his relationship Batman and Catwoman. Like, no, he's not good.
Ugh,
This
yeah,
stuff's really depressing. But he would be probably, aside from Scott Snyder, like the top top writer over there. So that didn't work out. Like that project got canceled with Ava DuVernay, and then here you go. James Gunn's making the same mistake. So we'll see.
I hope he realizes. He needs somebody to like tell him what the fuck's going on. Or maybe he's just a Epstein Island weirdo.
I'm just here to laugh. Like I don't. Whatever happens will be funny. If it's good, it's good. Like it's good for DC. Like and that's fine.
Are you gonna go watch Flash?
Yeah, I will. I will
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, because of Michael Keaton. I don't have a boycott on Warner Brothers. I still.
I have a boycott on Ezra Miller. I fucking hate him. I think he's a piece of shit.
No, I agree, but you know what? Like the weird thing about Ezra Miller is, I don't know what it is with like Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder, he got his hooks into Warner Brothers. And he's got to be the most diabolical human being ever. First of all, he made his fan club into a cult, an obsessive cult that feels that he has the right, like he is the messiah of DC Comics superhero movies, which is strange. But the other thing is like excising him from the jaw of the fish that is DC Comics meant pulling away part of the cheek and also leaving poison behind. Like he stuck them with Ray Fisher, who's been nothing but trouble. He stuck them with Amber Heard. He stuck them with Ezra Miller. Those are like one man did that to Warner Brothers. He left them with those 3 ticking time bombs. And that's Zack Snyder. It's an unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable person. And he's just poisoned everything on the way out.
And he had the worst Superman. Even though he had the best Superman in Henry Cavill, he had the worst Superman movie. I fucking hate Man of Steel. That is not my Superman. That is not my Superman. That is not my Jonathan Kent. Jonathan Kent wouldn't teach his fucking son to kill a bunch of school kids. Okay, that's not okay. Not okay with me. Jason Smoot for $20 says, "What a great show! Love you both. EVS, are you streaming after this?"
I don't know. Maybe.
Good answer.
Good answer. Just keep them on edge.
Maybe. And 200 Watts Studio says EVS plays EFAP Trump Town Hall. That might be a fun thing to do. Carl's in Depth for 2 says, "If boobs are great, how come you have your shirt on?" Because this is YouTube. Also, I have a sense of pride, and I'm not an actress. If I was, I would be a very revealing actress. John Burns for 279 says, "Melissa McCarthy's boobs are seen in movies." Oh God, no, I don't want to see that. Then we got Ulf Thank you so much for the 5. Hail Nina and brother Ethan. Always happy to have LDS representation in what? In Gary voice?
How does
Oh,
that work?
I don't know. I don't know if I can do Gary voice. I don't know how I could do that at all.
But we have another Mormon here, so that's good.
Yay. Then we got John Burns 279 says government regulations remove public hair in anime. What? Or no, pubic hair. What? But in Japan?
Well, I mean, if you've watched a lot of hentai, like I have, you'll notice that in almost everyone. Now, for example, La Blue Girl, which is one of my favorites. Yeah, all the drawings of women, their pubic areas are fully shaved, waxed, even clean. And so I didn't know that was. Yeah, I didn't know, like hardwood floors, we call that. You know, when you say the curtains, do they match the drapes? You say I got hardwood floors.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was a matter of government regulation, but apparently
I didn't know that either. That is weird.
By the way, La Blue Girl's the only hentai I've ever seen. I bring it up every time to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I'll take your word for it. I've never heard of it because I watch like actual.
Oh my God!
I don't watch. Hentai.
Oh, I don't want to get fucked by the monster. Oh,
is it one of those like fucking the tentacle ones?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it is that. I swear that's what that like the cover that we were looking at earlier of the Superman thing. That's what they want. They want him to be like fucking tentacle raped by some fucking squid monster and then take it up the butt. Like that's what they want now for Superman. That's why they put the fucking tentacles in the background. They're giving you a preview of what's to come. It's the tentacles. And then I know it's so gross. John Burns. Okay. Thank you. Tipper Gore wanted labels on record albums in the 90s. The more you know. Cool.
PMRC.
And then we got John Benoit. Thank you so much for the $2 to say hi, Nina. Hi. Hello. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're enjoying the show. This has been a wonderful show. Thank you again, Ethan, for joining me tonight. And I hope you come back. And
Nina, whenever you invite me, I'll be here. Seriously. Yeah, I like talking to you. I think you're swell. Thank you for the nice conversation. And before we end, can I show my action figures?
Of course. And we're gonna have to show your book off one more time too before we go.
Oh, appreciate that. So because of the incredibleness of Comicsgate, at least so far, I think Patrick Thomas Parnell also made some toys. But I wanted to make action figures that were as good as, if not better than, Hasbro's and perhaps Todd McFarlane's. This is Heather Swain from Cyberfrog. She's got 3 different weapons and everything, different swap out heads with different hairstyles. You can project yourself into her, ladies. That's okay. But, if you want to.
I will.
Here is Cyberfrog. This is a Cyberfrog electric blue version. You can find these on Indiegogo. Electric blue Cyberfrog action figures, or just look up Cyberfrog action figures Indiegogo. You'll find them and be able to purchase one. I think these are $40. And they're on their way over to our warehouse. We're going to be shipping these out this summer. Cyberfrog, fully articulated, even the toes. You can't really see. Look at his toes.
I can see it. It's like little webbed feet. It's like Anna's hands. I'm just joking.
It is. And they're fully articulated. And then finally, we've got
Anna's feet. That's what I meant.
Yes, we've got the Vespis here.
Let me. Oh, there we go.
Look at these killer wasps here.
Ooh.
Totally awesome. Also fully articulated. And you can get a Vespis. Get all of them. Go over to our Indiegogo campaign. Support this. Support Cyberfrog. All the Cyberfrog campaigns. Join our club. Join our movement. Help us continue to make stuff that makes SJWs crazy. They're so jealous of this. Nobody can do this. They can't make toys like this. Look how great. Even the back of this looks incredible.
Well, they would just turn them all into men.
Yeah, I think so. Gay. Yeah. So Cyberfrog will never be gay, despite all the warnings of Alex Jones. Never going to turn gay.
You're never going to turn him gay.
No. And this is Cyberfrog Rack Planet, by the way. Again, our stuff is better than everybody else's. We want to make our comic book shiny.
Hold on, that is a cool freaking cover, man. That is wicked.
This is
So
the Jay
shiny.
Lee cover, yeah, of, as you can see, Heather's just kicking ass here. There's little Lily around Cyberfrog's neck, and Cyberfrog's just crushing a Vespis. This is the second issue of Cyberfrog, Cyberfrog 2. It is 73 pages of story and art. And frankly, I think it's good, and it's getting good reviews. You can get a copy of this and then everything else Cyberfrog on Cyberfrog Dark Harvest, the campaign on Indiegogo.
And
And your
that is
support would
what
mean
I'm
a lot.
pulling up right here. So make sure you guys back this campaign, Cyberfrog Dark Harvest. And if you're sick and tired of what all the stuff that we talked about earlier with DC, with Marvel, with all the woke agenda that's going on in entertainment, and you want to stop funding those weirdos putting their propaganda into your entertainment, you want to back projects like this, like Ethan Van Sciver.
Help us win. We want to win. And not only that, I just want you to know, it's not just about beating the SJWs. We're going to do that anyway. It's also about creating counter mythology right now. They're sitting there with the ruining Spider-Man, Star Wars, Star Trek. We need to create something new. And they're not capable of it. Cyberfrog is that thing. You don't know it yet, but you're going to be like, holy shit, I made that happen one day. So I need your support. Please do support Cyberfrog right now. Thank you.
Putting that link in the chat back. Cyberfrog now. There you guys go. And John Burns for 279 says Melissa McCarthy's boobs were real and covered you. I don't care.
As long as they're covered, I mean.
At least they're covered.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is I used to like her because I like that show Gilmore Girls, and she was in it, and she was really good in Gilmore Girls. Then she went woke and crazy, and then everything went to shit.
I'm not hating her, but ladies, if you're a little overweight, lose weight and then lose the clothes, and it's all good. I mean, seriously, you want validation? Men are here to give it to you if you get naked, and I'm among them. Like, if you want to get naked and post pictures of yourself somewhere, OnlyFans, whatever it is, I'll be like, hooray, good for you. I'm clapping for you because you're clapping.
But you're not going to go
sign
sign up because Auntie Andrea would probably kill you, right?
Yeah. Well, no, if I find out that a celebrity got naked, I will say, I'm going to go look at naked pictures of this celebrity. And she'll go, really? I'll go, yeah, look at that. Oh, look, Jennifer Lawrence.
That's literally me to my husband. Like, when that whole thing happened, I was like, I need to find these nude photos. And he'd be like, really? You're going to actually look for those?
Aren't you curious?
And I'm like, yeah, I'm so curious to see the nude photos. And so I'd be showing him and he'd be like, I don't care. But I'm the weirdo that wants to look at naked celebrity photos.
Nudity is great. There's nothing wrong with it.
Like when freaking buddy, Captain America, Chris Evans, I think that's his name. There's so many Chris Evans or Chris's. Chris Evans, when America's dick was put out on Instagram. Yes, I saw that, and I was like,
I saw people protecting him. All the ladies were protecting him, but you know what they were saying? Apparently, I didn't get to see it. Not that I'm looking. But he did say something. It was part of a tweet that he sent to some girl, like, I'm here to protect that pussy. And I was like,
yeah, he did.
You are the man.
He did.
I'm here to protect that pussy. What a line, man. That's great.
He did. And I was like, see, we would like Chris Evans if he was like funny like this. And then he went all woke and weird. Yeah. But like in reality, that's not what he's like. In reality, he's funny and he'll text shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's when you know it's all an act. And that's when you lose more respect. You're like, you don't even believe in the shit that you spew. You're fucking never mind. Anyways.
You know what?
200 Watt Studios for $2 says the 8 inches of validation will be given. Okay. If you say so, more like 2 inches. 279 from John Burns says, you want real prominent boobs in movies, not drag. This is true. I don't want drag in movies. Ethan, again, it's been a freaking awesome night. Fantastic evening. Thank you for coming here. And make sure everybody subscribe to Comics Artist Pro Secrets, because that's his channel. And all of the links are in the description down below. Did you want to plug anything else before we leave?
Not really. I just wanted to say thanks. I had fun. I hope you did too. And I hope to see you again soon. Come on my channel. Come join me on my channel at some point.
I will, definitely.
Let's hang out.
Definitely. Everybody wants you to EFAP the town hall. So
all right. Maybe I'll do it.
You have work to do. Your audience is requesting things from you. Until next time, everybody, have a great night, and see you next time. Bye.